pool or lakes or the ocean, you know, probably 9 months out of a 12-month year. Swimming for my family, my mom's parents were from Indiana, and my grandmother worked at IU. And that is where Mark Spitz did his training before he went to the Olympic Games and went on to win 7 Olympic gold medals and break 7 world records. So during that time, my grandfather, who, you know, in his young life was just a baseball player, was just a basketball player, and he was talented, but he wasn't a swimmer, he wasn't competitive. But swimming became a sport that he ventured into for health and fitness later on in life. So he got to watch Mark Spitz train while he was just lap swimming at IU. And so when my grandparents moved to Florida, just shortly before I was born, of course they decided that they were going to put a pool in their backyard. I was the second grandchild born. I had a cousin that was born about 7 months prior to me. But we all have, there's numerous pictures of us in the pool as it was being first filled up, and I wasn't even old enough to walk, and my grandmother was holding me and I was splashing. I can remember, you know, bath time was a fun time for me. So I was naturally a water baby. I didn't have the fear, and I never developed a fear of water. But it was very important that our family all taught our, you know, the grandchildren how to swim. Now, like I said, I have, you know, 6 other cousins on my mom's side of the family. I'm the only one that took that passion of learning how to swim and being water safe to the next level and to the next level and to the extreme of, you know, swimming being my life. But my cousins knew how to swim. We knew our boundaries in the pool. We knew what we could and couldn't do. And we knew that the one rule we were not allowed to break, and here I was, you know, at 5 years old, I knew all 4 basic strokes. It didn't matter. If we wanted to go out to the pool, we had to have an adult with us. So, you know, I look at it as, you know, as my foundation, as it was, boundaries were set for us very early on. You know, Kelly mentioned that drowning is the #1 cause for children from the age of 1 to 4. It's the 3rd leading cause for children. And though it's an accidental death, they are preventable. There are things that we can do. You know, I think about, you know, how many moms, aunts, uncles, dads, grandmothers do we have in the room today? Right? So we go through the stages of the first grandchild coming in, or I'm going to be an aunt for the first time, or an uncle, or I'm going to be a mom for the first time. And you start thinking about all these things that you have like 9 months to prepare. What are you going to do? How are you going to be the best mom, the best aunt, the best uncle, the best grandma, the best grandpa? How are you going to plan for that? So when we're planning for all these things, and we think car seats, we want to have the best car seat, we want to have a safe stroller, of course we want to have toys and the most fashionable clothes. But in that same time that we're planning for this baby to come into the world, are we researching out into our community on where we can take that child to learn how to be water safe? And I think it starts there. And I think it starts with the phone calls of calling, you know, Google. The internet's a great thing. I mean, you can find anything on the internet, on water safety classes. Mommy and me, when do you want to get your new baby exposed to water for the first time? So I think in the planning, as we're planning to wait for this arrival, when we're talking about the infant stage, it starts with, you know, how are we going to handle that? We live in Florida. How are we going to approach this when this new bundle of joy comes into the world? Because we want that statistic to go down, like Kelly mentioned, when they did this in Alabama, that they went down 54%. So we want that same thing here, you know, in our area, but we want it bigger. I was reading an article as I was researching and thinking, as, you know, in the bath as an infant, it takes less than 2 minutes in little as 2 inches of water for something to go terribly wrong. I mean, 2 minutes, you know? I mean, that's less time that it took me to win, you know, my Olympic gold medals. My races took 4 minutes and 8 minutes. We're talking 2 minutes. I mean, it's like that. 2 inches of water. I mean, you know, when you think of drowning, you think swimming pool, you think lake, you think river. No, it's bathtub, it's sink. You just don't know. And one of the articles that I popped up and it said plain right there is, you know, put the distractions away. Put the cell phone down. You know, somebody was telling me a story the other day about, you know, a dad was giving the baby a bath and the phone rang, and so there was like an instant transaction between mom running out of the bathroom or dad running out to pick up the phone and mom coming in, and within that split second something went wrong. So, you know, I don't think there's any phone call that's more important than your infant, you know, being in the bathtub and making sure that that time is a safe time, but also a play time for them. You know, when we go into the toddler age, where they're starting to crawl, they're mobile, they're getting up and they're walking and they're pulling on things, you know, is your home or where the toddler is going to be spending time, is there water around? Is your backyard lead out to a lake or a pond? Do you have a backyard pool? And you can think so many times about what you have, and if your answer is, no, there's no water in my backyard, and no, there's no pool in my backyard, but what about when you go to a friend's house and they have a pool? Or, you know, they're going to go spend the afternoon with the aunt or uncle, and there's, you know, a pond in their backyard. So we can never eliminate and say we're safe because we've taken all the boundaries at home, but it's when you go outside, you know, those walls, and are you safe and are you prepared? You know, and then it's the children as well.